Hi, this is Francis, your crafting buddy. I want to show you a one sheet wonder, and you can make 8 cards just using one sheet of patterned paper. So we have heartfelt prayers. This is from the Peace on Earth bundles from Stampin' Up. So you're just going to need one stamp set, one die set, some ribbon, and of course some
Hey
embellishments.
everyone, this is Frances. Today I wanted to share the basic supplies that I'm going to be using for this one sheet wonder. I'm going to use a Piece on Earth Designer Series paper. It's going to measure 12 by 12, so I just need one. To coordinate with this pattern paper, I'm going to need 5 white cardstock that measures 8.5 by 11. I'm going to need 4 Knights of Navy cardstock that measures 8.5 by 11. I'm going to need an ink pad, Knight of Navy, that should coordinate, and of course ink blocks. For adhesive, I'm going to use the Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm going to use wet adhesive called Tombow Mono. For embellishments, I'm going to use Hues of Blue flowers and this Misty Moonlight ribbon. I'm also going to use Peace on Earth stamp set and Peace on Earth die set. Feel free to substitute your stamp set and die set with whatever you have. You can still use this pattern paper with whatever pattern paper that you have at home. In addition to this, you're also going to need a ruler, a paper trimmer, a bone folder, and of course, a die cutting machine. Let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start by cutting this pattern paper, and we're going to cut it at 4-inch intervals. So we're going to go here, 4 inches. And we're going to cut it again at 4 inches. Next, we're going to cut one of these at 2 inches. And then at 5 inches. I guess that's 5 right here. Next one we're going to do is 3.5. 3.5 again. And the last piece will be 5 inches. Okay. Next is we're going to cut the same as this, the first one. We're going to cut 2 inches and then 5 and then 5 again. Next, we're going to cut the photo mats or the mats for the card bases. So let's start cutting those. And how we do this is we take the 8.5 horizontally and we're going to cut it at 5.5. Then we're going to turn this and put it at 4.25. And we are going to score at 4.25. So that creates the card base. So we're going to do this we're going to make sure we have 8 card bases in white. For the blue, we're going to need 5 mats at 4.25 by 5.5. So how do we do that? We're going to start here at 5.5 horizontally. And then we're going to cut this at 4.25. Move this to the side here. And this is going to be 4.25. 4 1/4. What's wrong way? See, this is 5 1/2, so we're gonna cut this down to 5 1/4. And then we're going to cut this at 4 1/4. We are going to cut this at 4 1/4, the long way, or you could do 5 1/2 the other way, but I'm gonna go this way. Okay, move this over. 4 1/4 here as well. And that's 4 1/4. Perfect. Now we're going to do 5 1/4. And then 5 1/4. And if you notice, there's a strip. We want to hold on to that. Same idea. We're going to do we're going to do 5 1/4. And 5 1/4. Again, hold on to this little piece at the end. Okay. So we've got 4, and you're going to do the same for one more. So we have 5 of these. Cut this in half. And so you're going to cut this in half. As you can see here, cut this in half. And then I'm going to do 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. So let me go like this. Let me see here. 4 1/4. Let me do it this way. By 3 3/4. That's 3.3 3 3/4. 3 3/4. Not quite 4. And that should be all. So now I've got 3 of these, but I am going to need just 2, but I have 3 because it just turns out that way. We're also So really what should happen is you should have four pieces that are matted. So the mat is 4 1/4 by 5 1/4, and then of course you should have 4 of those. Okay, and then we have 2 that are 4 1/4 by 3 3/4. And then I have 2 that we're not going to mat. And so I'm going to open this up. I don't get no ink. Of course I did. And I'm just adding a little bit of powdered color to this. So I'm just going to put these aside until I'm ready to use them. Next, we're going to start thinking about stamping our sentiments. Now, we have here 8 sentiments. So go ahead and start grabbing your wet adhesive and start putting these down. Now, all right, so I'm just going to leave like 1/8 of an inch all around. So that's going to go on the top. So, and I'm going to use my foam square prayers just like that. And then this is a great bereavement card. Okay, so I'm gonna glue this down. And then of course you use your floral embellishments to add to this. So pick one and just add it to it. Okay, there we go. Doesn't that look lovely? All right, so okay, so we have this one here. And this is what I'm gonna do. Okay, and then you have double-sided tape that works even better, or glue dots. But since I'm going to be gluing all of this down, now we're just going to put this right in the center of the card. And we can just pick one of these sentiments. I like moving it to the side just because it adds more visually more appealing. And then these instead. Smaller one at the top, I think. I think that looks really, really cute. Third one, let's make sure we just glue these down, I think. And this is where this can come in. You can go like this and then cut it down to fit. Remember, these were the little scraps I was telling you to hold on to. So I'm going to put this down at the towards the bottom. I'm going to leave an inch on the edge there. Decorated. I'm sure it'll be absolutely stunning. So go ahead and glue this down. Put this down here. So I'm going to, just for contrast, I'm going to use the lighter here. So there we go. Very nice, simple. We've got just this. Let this dry. And I think for this one, we're going to use, this time we're going to do it here like so. So we're going to use one of these. Glue that down. Some flowers to this. I'm going to do like a little cluster, I think, of flowers, different sizes. There we go. And glue this down. Then we are going to put a foam on this side. Right in the center. I'm not going to put any like lace or anything. I am going to glue this here now. Now we have these little ones here, these little leaves. Look how awesome that looks. Hard base here. I'm just going to put a dot here. And then, here we go. And then heartfelt prayers. We can, I think we use the light one. Very simple, but very elegant. Actually, I am going to here. I need to put a little bit of glue there. No.
So what we're gonna do is the same thing we've done before with the ribbon. Show you. Here we go. I mean, look how quick this is. You got birthday, you have sentiment. You could probably do a get well as well. Celebrate something special. And that's one of these leaves I really, really like, you know? Flowers. Yeah, I think that looks really pretty. We can even put a couple here if you like. It looks a little bit balanced. All right, we have one more and then we are finito. We are finished. Our base here. Let's go ahead and glue this down. And I like these little leaves. I think it'll make it very elegant. Kind of put it like this, like sending you peace, I think. All right, and then of course you can put a flower here. All right, see how pretty that is. So